Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is a cold Tuesday morning here in North Texas. About 31 degrees. Well, that's cold for us. But the wife is at work. I have the house to myself. So I've been looking around at different types of oils as I prepare for 2023 mowing season, because I'm going to have to change oil in that Bad Boy Rambler 42-inch cut with a 22 horsepower engine on it. I just ordered a twin turbo for that 22 horsepower engine. It's going to take that thing up to 125 horsepower. Just kidding. I've seen this on Amazon, and it's $23 a quart. It's the Kohler Pro 300 hour extended life synthetic engine oil, 10W50. And you can see right down there, or maybe you can't, but that says AMS oil. I'm sure that's probably some pretty good stuff. But for 300 hours, it takes me about 1 hour and 15 minutes at the most to mow my lawn, and that was with the John Deere STX 46 with a 46-inch cut. I'm still slow with the Rambler because I'm just not used to those controls, and I still have a little hard time getting it to do what I want it to do. But that's okay. I will get better with it with each time that I use it, and I'm sure that I'm going to be able to mow a lot faster than I did with that John Deere. But anyway, I'm still going to put here that I've got, or that it takes me about 1.25 hours. That's 1 hour and 15 minutes to mow the lawn. Okay, that would equate to 240 mowings that I could do between oil changes with that Kohler Pro 300 hour motor oil. And during the course of one mowing season, I mow approximately 20 to 30 times. And of course, we all know everything depends on how much it rains or how little it rains. So, it will never be more than 30. I know I've never mowed more than 30 times a year. Now, I'm just guessing, but I would guarantee it that I don't mow over 30. And let's see here. Now, if I get 240 mowings and I mow 30 times a year, that oil will last me for 8 years. I'm 70 years old. So the next time I would have to change oil, I would be 78. Well, in the past, I've always changed it about once a year. There's been maybe once or twice that I might have gone 1 year plus a month on the next year's mowing, but I'd always change it by then. Oil in that new mower, more than, God, I couldn't imagine going over 2 years. I just couldn't imagine that. That would, every time I got on that thing, I'd be nervous. So I'm gonna probably change mine about once a year. And before, on that STX, I use this, and this is all I used for 27 years. The bottle looks a little different, but this is the same stuff. 10W30 Advanced Full Synthetic. It may not have said advanced on the 27 years ago, but it was Mobil 1. It was their 10W30. That Kohler engine on that John Deere lasted 27 years and was still going whenever I retired it. The only reason I retired it was because the PTO clutch went out on it. And I could have got that fixed for like $300. But I wanted a zero turn, so there was my excuse to buy a zero turn, and I did. And, oh, let's see, I got a picture of it. Just in case anybody's interested. There is exactly what that John Deere looked like. And my seat was dilapidated, just about like this one. There's where you raise the height. There's a throttle control. And the PTO switch is over here on the right side of that seat. But I'll tell you what, that was one tough lawnmower. I abused the heck out of it, but I treated it good. As far as changing that all, the air filter, fuel filter. And now sometimes I would let the deck go a little bit. I know I was mowing the lawn, and every now and then you'd see a clump of grass come out from underneath it, hardened grass. So I knew right then it was time to get underneath that thing and kind of clean that grass out. Here's a 10W30 full synthetic Valvoline. Well, I bet this is probably some pretty good stuff. I like Valvoline. As a matter of fact, I use it, something similar to this, only it's not synthetic, in my truck. It's a 1994 Chevy Silverado with 177,000 miles on it. But it's a high zinc. I have to use that because of that engine. Now here's one. I tried to find this, and I can't find this anywhere. All I've got is just a picture. But I've looked on Amazon. I've looked on Walmart's side. I've looked on O'Reilly's. I've looked on AutoZone and a couple of other places, and I cannot find this anywhere. Maybe it's not sold in the U.S., but it's a 10W50, and I'm sure if you can put 10W50 Amsoil in it, that you can probably put 10W50 of this in it without worrying about damaging the engine. Here's some Lucas high performance motorcycle oil, synthetic 10W30, formulated for wet clutches. I'm sure that's probably why it says motorcycle oil. I don't know. Does anybody know? Would you be afraid to put this in your Kohler engine? Now, I bet this is probably some pretty good stuff. Redline 10W50 full synthetic motor oil. I bet that stuff's cheap. Yeah. Here's some more Lucas. Now this is, I'd sure feel safe putting this in that Bad Boy Rambler. I've used some Lucas products, but it's always been stuff like fuel additives to clean your fuel injectors and all that other cool stuff. Back in the early 1990s, I had a GSXR 1100 race bike. It had Mikuni carbs on it, a Kirker header. I'll tell you what, that thing would motor on. Man, that thing was fast. But I sold it and bought a then I got a used V65 Magna. And I tell you what, that V65 Magna turned out to be a pretty good touring bike. But I used Castrol in that GSXR 1100. Back then, I don't recall anything being synthetic, or I don't recall Castrol being synthetic. I can almost guarantee that I didn't put synthetic oil in that Suzuki. But it was Castrol. Now, I wouldn't hesitate at all about using this in that 22 horsepower Kohler. Now here's some more Lucas. It's synthetic 10W50. I bet that's a pretty good stuff. Let me go ahead and put that. But most likely, I can almost guarantee it right now that this is what I'm going to use right here when I finally change oil next year, and probably what I'm going to stick with. That with a Wix oil filter. There has been a couple of channels on YouTube when I was just looking around at stuff about Bad Boy zero-turn lawnmowers, is one or at least two channels that I found. They mentioned that they either emailed Kohler or was told by somebody from Kohler that Kohler recommends that you run conventional oil the first 50 hours to make sure that the rings were properly seated and the engine properly broke in. Well, I have gone on their website and I have tried to find that, and I had no luck. No luck at all. I cannot find anything that even remotely resembles that statement. If anybody listening to this knows where that can be found on Kohler's website, I would sure appreciate it if you would post a link, because I would sure like to see it. Because if I don't see it, this is probably almost, let me go back. I can almost guarantee this is what I'm going to run. The Mobil one and a Wix oil filter.